Hey, what's up, guys? It is Dan from FightWave, and today I'm joined by somebody who needs no further introduction. Part of a stacked UFC 290 card, and he performed on the card, guys. The start of a takeover that's going to be seen across the world in the UFC. The South African takeover of the UFC has officially begun. It started on Saturday night with a phenomenal performance from this young man right here, and somebody who the fans are looking forward to. 23 years of age, a phenomenal performance over Terrence Mitchell. I'm joined by Cameron MSP Saaiman. How you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing amazing. It's so great to be back. It's great to see the love from the FightWave community. So it's awesome. After the win, being back home, I'm very happy.
No, yeah, absolutely. And obviously, first and foremost, hopefully everything was safe and sound on the way back home. And congratulations on the victory, man. I mean, we spoke ahead of the interview. Obviously, we talked about the matchup. You promised a finish within 2 rounds. That's what we got. Talk to me about how you're feeling.
Great. I think everything went quite according to plan. We didn't plan on having a ground fight. We wanted to keep it standing, but I think we rolled with the punches quite well. And I think it's again just that performance shows that we are willing to take the fight wherever it may be, and we can finish wherever we want to. So I really hope that the people could see I'm not just a stand-up fighter, that we are all round very well rounded, and yeah, I'm excited for the next one already.
No, yeah, definitely. And this fight, no controversy this time around. You look great in the scrambles. You look great on the feet. Everything was perfect. You got to finish the way you wanted to in the first round. Talk to me about just being able to come out with such a clean performance. Because obviously, we talked about it. Everyone emphasizes what happened in the last two fights. This time around, you made sure to silence the doubters, and you made sure to really showcase that you are a clean fighter and you are somebody who puts on these phenomenal performances. So talk to me about just the performance. Walk me through how you felt in the fight.
I think, yeah, obviously the first two fights were quite frantic, and I think that was my mentality of going into the fight, is like pushing a very high pace, having high output. But I think I was very mentally attentive in this fight. I landed. I think like the camera panned to like a cage side. I watched the fight once already, only once, but I landed like a massive knee to the head, which wasn't really caught on camera quite like perfectly. But every single exchange was quite attentive, if I can call it that. I was very aware of not fouling at all, so that helped quite a lot. But I think I really did what I wanted to do. The grappling exchanges that you guys saw, that it was textbook to what we have been training for 8 to 12 weeks, specifically. And I think it's just, I was excited. I never watch my fights afterwards. I always take 2 week breaks, never watch the fights. And then when I come back to the gym after a holiday, then I'll watch the fights. This time was a little bit different because I was excited at how strategically we did everything perfectly. And I just wanted to make sure that how it felt in the cage is actually what happened, and what it looked like and what it felt like is the same thing. So the evening of the fight, I watched my fight again, just to make sure that I'm in check. And yeah, just a massive shout out to Coach Neil Geyser. He's my amazing grappling coach. It was textbook, and he's also very happy. So I'm happy.
No, yeah, definitely. And then something you mentioned in the post fight, which stood out to me, and we spoke about it. You mentioned the guy you've been coming up with for quite some time now, Mark Hume. No shortage of amazing fights there. I actually looked into Mark after we spoke about him, and I was thoroughly impressed with his performance. I look forward to having him on very soon. But you mentioned the takeover. It's happening. It's gonna happen very, very, very soon, and it began on at UFC 290. You started it. Dricus finished it. A phenomenal performance by your teammate and somebody you've came up with obviously for a long time. Talk to me about the emotions of seeing him defy everyone and people who counted him out, go out there and do what you guys already knew he was capable of doing on such a grand scale. I mean, talk to me about what you were feeling.
Yeah. So in his post-fight speech, he said in Afrikaans, hulle weet nie wat ons weet nie, which is translated to like they don't know what we know. And it is just like it's perfect for how this whole camp was going, because I think a lot of people just read him off easily, just like didn't give him any chance. And we knew what he had. We knew, the work that he has been put in. We know his mentality in a fight. We know he shows up in big moments, and we know he can get the finish over any person on the planet. If he moves up to light heavy, if he moves up to heavyweight, he will he he's just one of those guys that always pitch up and performs and outperforms himself and everyone that may doubt him. So it was just not a surprise, to be honest. It was surreal to see. And there are photos of my mental coach and I sitting in a bar, watching the fights, and we were ecstatic. We were jumping up and down, and it was just amazing to see him actually accomplish it in the fashion that he did. I do think that not a lot of people expected it to go that way, but Dricus had an absolutely textbook amazing performance. He did everything technically, sound. He was as sharp as one can be, and that is what we want to show the world. And I'm so glad that he got to show that before fighting for a world title, because I think a lot of people now are on notice, and I think he won a lot of people over because of that performance. And I'm so happy for him. It's amazing.
No, yeah, definitely. And like you mentioned, he did what you guys already knew he was capable of doing. He said they don't know what we know, obviously, in Afrikaans. But what stood out to
Yeah.
me was more importantly the technique on the ground. And that's something I think you guys don't get enough credit for. That throw that he did in the first round was as textbook as it can get. And it was something that was absolutely beautiful. I mean, talk to me. How many times do you guys drill that throw in the gym, night in, night out? Because that was absolutely phenomenal.
So we always joke and say that like Dricus has this ability to do stuff in fights that we never do in training. Like with his Darren Till fight going for like a toe hold. Like we never do that. And one of the things that happened in this fight was that judo throw that we never do in training. Like we never train that. But I think it just it shows once again that he's willing to try things in there with the best guys in the world. He's willing to be creative. If someone gives him an opportunity or a gap to go for something, he'll go for it, and he'll then face the consequences of that decision in the fight. So I think it just shows again how unpredictable he is, and how willing he is to try new things, and it's amazing. I think we always laugh and say that we have like these random things that we'll never do, but we try that in any way on the biggest stage in the world, which is quite funny. But it's just great because we don't train judo throws a lot. I think that's where his experience as a small kid doing judo, that's where that came in for sure.
No, yeah, definitely. And I mean, you look at obviously the post fight, what happened, absolutely phenomenal build up for what is going to be a remarkable title fight. I know you and Dricus obviously anticipated Adesanya walking in the cage. I imagine to some extent. Talk to me just about witnessing that firsthand, seeing Dricus and Adesanya face off for the first time as prospective competitors in the future. What did you make of obviously that face off, and just what did you make of the overall way Dricus handled himself? Oh my god, tongue twister. But because I thought he handled himself with absolute class first and foremost. I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so when we were watching it, we were sitting in a bar with maybe three. There were so many people there. There's like 50 TVs. Everyone's busy. Everyone's eating. So we couldn't actually properly hear what Adesanya had to say. Obviously, he was repeating certain words a lot, so it was not hard to miss that. But the type of exchanges, we couldn't understand what was going on. So it was quite weird seeing that, and then seeing coach's reaction in the background, and The only clear sentence I heard was Dricus's brilliant, thing of saying like, "I'm African, but I ain't no brother of yours," and everyone in the bar was laughing and just had a great time with that exchange. I expected that to happen. I did not expect Adesanya to act like a complete clown in front of millions. Like it's not usually his style as well. He does not do that. He's usually very calculated in what he has to say, and you could almost see him break character for that second. So I think he was nervous. I think maybe under the influence, maybe not. I don't know, but I think he was nervous in that exchange. I do not think he expected anyone to finish a guy that he has never finished. And that happened. And I think that played a massive role in his behavior afterwards. And it just sets up for a great fight. It sets up for an awesome title fight.
No, yeah, absolutely. And obviously speculated to headline UFC Sydney. All things considered, that is the card that everyone is eyeing this fight to be towards. I think so. Overall, I thought to myself, Dricus handled himself with absolute class and capped off what was a phenomenal night, obviously, for the South African community. The Springboks had a phenomenal outing, obviously, on the rugby department, defeating Australia. Unfortunate today, at the time of this recording, they lost to New Zealand. That's a little
Yeah.
unfortunate, but
Yeah.
overall, on the night of UFC 290, everything seemed to be going South Africa's way. From the rugby to the fighting, everything was perfect. I know you mentioned, obviously, after the fight, you would have loved to have been on the card a little bit later, because just to see a little bit more South Africa flags. But even when you were fighting, there was no shortage of flags. There was no shortage of support. I said this now, and I'll say it again. The South African fans are the best fans in the world. That goes without saying. The support they have for their fighters is out of this world. Talk to me about how that felt, and just being able to walk out and see as many flags in the United States in enemy territory, or not even enemy territory, in neutral territory, I should say, and just getting that
Yeah.
that cheer from the crowd.
Yeah, it was amazing. I've been saying it for years now. Like South African fans are the best fans in the world. They are the best sporting fans in the world, and they're super passionate. And I could see that walking out as well, and that's why I was so excited walking out. I think I was seeing the South African flags, hearing the crowd, and then obviously having the walkout song as well. Just everything just made up for this amazing walkout and feeling welcome and being happy to be there. And yeah, it was great to see so many South Africans afterwards as well. I saw some friends that went through a lot of trouble to fly in to come watch the fights, and it shows once again that we are busy with something special. And if the UFC comes to South Africa, they'll feel that energy as well. It was amazing to be able to fight against the Alaskan. And you would think the crowd is in his favor, but it did not sound like that at all. When they announced my name, it was surreal to hear the love from the crowd, not only from the South Africans but from everyone that was there. So that always adds motivation to outperform and to perform to the best of our ability. And I think we did that.
No, yeah, definitely. And something that stood out to me, correct me if I'm wrong, the commentary had mentioned, in the hotel, obviously, with the support of South Africans, you guys actually, I think if I remember correctly, the owner of the hotel you guys were staying at was South African. And when he found out you guys were fighting on the card, did he actually bump your guys up to a suite? Like, did he change the room just to accommodate you guys better?
Yeah, so yes, so we actually got to meet so he is the CEO of the Indian tribe that owns the hotel. So it was great to meet him. It was out of the blue. We were having breakfast and we were speaking obviously Afrikaans, and he just came to us and said in Afrikaans, it's dis lekker om te hoor hoe mense Afrikaans praat, meaning like it's great to hear our home language. And we were quite shocked, and we looked, and he introduced himself, and he's the CEO of the holding company that owns the Palms. And the Palms was amazing, and they made sure that we were well looked after, and that was awesome to see. Just before we moved over to the athletes hotel, that we got to got to stay there and enjoy what the Palms had to offer. So it's yeah, it just once again shows the amazing support that South Africans are willing to make for each other. And yeah, it was, I think we'll be visiting the Palms again for sure when we go back to Vegas. Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned obviously the hospitality and the accommodation. Obviously, you flew back relatively quick, and I think Drick has stayed an extra day or two just celebrating the fruits of his labor. Talk to me at least. I need to know this because somebody asked it in the post fight, and I want to know: did you and Drickus end up going to Top Golf? I know you wanted to go. Did that end up happening? And also, did you end up throwing him in the pool by any chance?
It's so funny. No, no, no pool. Because I saw the body shot he threw to Rob. Like, I don't want to take one of those. It looks like it sucks. So I didn't throw him in the pool, and we did also not go to Top Golf. Both of us are dealing with some niggles and injuries and stuff like that. So we are keeping the physical activities to a minimum until we are cleared to have a lot of fun with other sports. But for now, we are just trying to sort out some injuries and niggles.
No, yeah, absolutely. And you obviously flew back relatively quick. What was the reception like when you got back home? Was it, overwhelming positivity, or how was it like coming back just right after the fight, pretty much?
Yeah, this time it's surreal, because my family is not really in the city where we land, so they're quite far. So I haven't gotten to see my family really, but just all my friends and all my seeing sponsors and stuff like that, people that are so mutually invested in my career. It's amazing to get to spend time with these people. I've been back for about a week. I'm not sleeping a lot because I'm always at someone else's house, or we are grabbing lunch with sponsors or stuff like that. We are spending time with the people that helped us get here, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So I I'm looking forward to going on holiday tomorrow. I'm actually flying to Cape Town, and then I'm doing a small road trip to George where my parents stay. So I'm looking forward to that, and we have a few hiking trails and stuff that we have booked beforehand to do. So, I'm really looking forward to being out in nature and having good walks and having good food because yeah, being back it's great because I have like four breakfasts and then I go over to lunch. I think like my priority is just having food, good food.
No, yeah, definitely, and some much needed time to just decompress, or more importantly, and really take a step back and enjoy the fruits of your labor. I say that oftentimes, like fighters don't really get to enjoy the fruits of their labor since they're so steadfast on their journey and focused on the journey ahead of them that they often take and have an inability to really look at what's in front of them and what they've accomplished thus far. So when you say obviously you're gonna go on a road trip, it's reassuring to just see a young guy like you really, your goals are very much in tune with where you want to get to in this sport, and you obviously understand how to take time and really decompress from the sport as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that's something that I got to learn from the guys that have been doing it for years now. So it's we also fought 3 times in 8 months. It's quite taxing on the body, so it's sometimes you need to just take a small step back and recharge to make sure that you're ready for the next camp, because I'm mentally already in ready to start that camp. I'm excited for that. I'm looking forward to putting in the hard rounds, the hard hours every single week. um, for now, I'm just gonna take a small break, and then I'll definitely be ready to start a full camp, and hopefully we can bounce back in November, December, and squeeze one more in for this year.
No, yeah, definitely. And I guess before I go to my next question, obviously I gotta ask, what's the cheat meal looking like right now? The favorite food that you're eating right now when you're not in fight camp, for all of the South African followers who may want to be having that Camp Simon victory meal.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's I don't discriminate. I have a lot of I have a lot of cheat meals, to be honest. I'm a massive fan. Like we've had amazing steaks. We have a thing called biltong croquettes here at Buffelsfontein at the restaurant. It's amazing. It's like a biltong and cheese ball that is like deep fried. It's delicious. Eggs Benedict, I love that with a hollandaise sauce is top class. And then obviously just like a pizza and burgers, or they get eaten quite a lot as well. So I have a big variety of stuff, and I'll sneak in a donut now and then as well. So yeah.
No, yeah, definitely. Obviously, you mentioned great selections, no discrimination. Stellar choice with the eggs Benny, I might add. Obviously, first and foremost, Cameron, thank you so much for your time and getting to connect so quick after a victory. It almost always, makes me very happy to have fighters that are very much willing to give us the time, give us their energy. And obviously, we spoke, a week or two ahead of the fight, and we're speaking just a week after the fight. I wanted to just thank you first and foremost for that and your good energy. You've always been obviously a fan of our work. We're a big fan of what you're doing in your career. And obviously you mentioned in the presser, you want to look to fight up, whether it's somebody in that top 30, top 25 mix or somebody up there. Obviously the C-Rod fight doesn't really make as much sense now following the win over Terrence Mitchell. But you mentioned those dates, October, November, December is somewhere you're eyeing to fight one last time. And I have a question from a fan actually. From Vincent11293, he obviously mentioned, what's a dream fight for you in the division right now if you had to pick one?
That's a great question. If a dream fight at this stage, it's always we always chat about the guys that we see us facing in the future, and I'm pretty sure that Sean O'Malley and my paths will cross in the future. So in terms of having a dream fight, I think that it's not going to be a dream. It's going to be something that happens. Whether he's on the way to the gold belt, or I take the belt from him, that's I would say that's the top fight I would like to have in my division for sure.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I know you mentioned obviously you're rooting for Sean in this fight. You think he gets it done. What's a
Yeah.
message for the fans at home from South Africa, maybe in your native tongue of Afrikaans or any in English? What's a message you have for the supporters of Cameron MSP Saaiman at this point in your career? Because the support has been overwhelming, and I think that these fans are truly one of a kind, and they've done so much. I think right by me, right by you, and right by the sport.
Yeah, just I'm super grateful to be here, and I hope that I get to show my thankfulness in the performances I have in the near future. So keep on watching the MSP show, because we're gonna have some fun stuff coming up, and yeah, I'm really just super grateful for the support. It's been amazing, and we would not be here if it wasn't for the fans. So thank you guys. Thanks.
No, yeah, absolutely. And obviously, Cameron, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to watching you fight in that end of the year slot in October, November, December, whenever it may be. I know the fans at home are going to be tuning in to watching MSP fight very soon and just whenever it is. So thank you so much for that. And to the fans at home watching, do be sure to check out Cameron on social media. Obviously, coming off a spectacular win at UFC 290, the momentum for MSP continues to build right now. So do be sure to check out the MSP show as well in the description down below. It's been me, Dan, from FightWave, guys. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed this interview. Do be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a great day, guys.